The rain hit the windshield like bullets, and Patrick Newman knew he was in trouble when his daughter Emma started crying in the backseat. "Daddy, I'm scared," the 6-year-old whimpered, clutching her worn stuffed rabbit to her chest. Patrick pulled his beat-up Honda Civic to the side of the road, the wipers barely keeping up with the downpour. He was already late picking Emma up from his mother's house, and now this storm had turned what should have been a 20-minute drive into a nightmare. The engine sputtered, and his heart sank. Not again. He had just gotten the alternator fixed last month with money he had scraped together from extra shifts at the warehouse. "It's okay, sweetheart. Just a little rain." He tried to keep his voice steady, but the truth was they were stuck on a nearly deserted stretch of road, and his phone was down to 3% battery. That's when he saw her. A woman in what looked like an expensive cream-colored dress was stumbling along the roadside, completely drenched, her dark hair plastered to her face. She had no umbrella, no jacket, nothing. She was walking in heels that were clearly not made for hiking along muddy shoulders. Patrick didn't hesitate. He threw open his door and jogged toward her, getting soaked instantly. "Hey, are you okay?" he called out. The woman turned, and even through the rain, he could see her striking features. Dark eyes, high cheekbones, and an expression that seemed equal parts relieved and embarrassed. "My car broke down about a mile back," she said, having to shout over the storm. "My phone died and I just started walking. Come on, get in the car, you will freeze out here." Patrick gestured toward his vehicle. She hesitated for only a second before nodding. They ran back together, and Patrick opened the front passenger door for her before climbing back into the driver's seat. "Thank you so much," she said, shivering as she buckled herself in. "I thought I was going to have to walk all the way to the city." "That's at least 10 miles from here," Patrick said, grabbing an old jacket from beside his seat and handing it to her. "Here, it is not much, but it is dry." She took it gratefully, wrapping it around her shoulders. That is when she noticed Emma in the back seat. "Hello there," she said with a warm smile that transformed her whole face. Emma peeked out from behind her rabbit. "Hi, this is Emma, my daughter," Patrick said. "I am Patrick Newman." "I am Maya," she said. "Meyer Edwards." "And you two just saved my life." Patrick laughed, running a hand through his wet hair. "I think that is a bit dramatic, but I am glad we came along when we did." He turned the key in the ignition, praying the car would start. It coughed, sputtered, and then roared to life. Thank God. "Where can I take you?" he asked. Maya bit her lip, thinking. "Is there a hotel nearby, anywhere I could stay for the night?" "The nearest hotel is back in the city," Patrick said, "but there is a diner about 5 miles up the road. They are open late. You could wait there and call someone." "That would be perfect." As Patrick pulled back onto the road, he could not help but steal glances at Maya. Even soaked and bedraggled, there was something about her that seemed out of place in his old car. The way she carried herself, the quality of that ruined dress, even the way she spoke. It all suggested someone from a different world entirely. "So what were you doing out here?" he asked. Maya sighed. "Honestly, running away from a very boring dinner party, I made the mistake of telling my driver I would find my own way home because I needed some air. Then my car died, and my phone died, and apparently I have terrible judgment." Emma giggled from the back seat, and Maya turned to smile at her. "How old are you, Emma?" Maya asked. 6.5, Emma said proudly, holding up 6 fingers and then quickly adding half of another. 6.5 is a very important age, Maya said seriously. "That is when I learned to ride a bike. I can ride a bike too, Daddy taught me." Patrick felt a familiar warmth in his chest. Emma was the best thing that had ever happened to him, even if her mother had decided being a parent was not for her 3 years ago. They had been struggling ever since, but moments like this, when Emma was happy and chattering away, made everything worth it. The diner appeared like a beacon in the storm, its neon sign flickering but welcoming. Patrick pulled into the parking lot, which was nearly empty except for a couple of trucks. "Come on," he said. "Let's get you somewhere warm." Inside, the diner was classic Americana with red vinyl booths, checkered floors, and the smell of coffee and pie. A tired-looking waitress looked up from behind the counter and nodded at them. Patrick found a booth, and they all slid in. Emma immediately grabbed the small jukebox selector on the table and started looking through the songs. "Can I get you folks anything?" the waitress asked, appearing with menus. "Coffee, please," Maya said. "Black, and whatever they want." She gestured to Patrick and Emma. "You do not have to," Patrick started, but Maya held up a hand. "Please, it is the least I can do. You rescued me from the storm." Patrick relented. "Okay, Emma, you want some hot chocolate?" "Yes, please, with marshmallows." "With marshmallows," Patrick confirmed, and the waitress smiled before walking away. Maya was still shivering slightly, and Patrick noticed. "Are you okay? Should we get you to a hospital?" No, I am fine, just cold." She pulled his jacket tighter around herself. "Thank you again. Really. I do not know what I would have done if you had not stopped." "Anyone would have done the same thing," Patrick said. Maya looked at him with an expression he could not quite read. "You would be surprised." The coffee came, along with Emma's hot chocolate, and Patrick ordered them all some pie because Emma was giving him those big pleading eyes she knew he could not resist. As they ate, Maya and Emma fell into an easy conversation about favorite colors, animals, and whether unicorns were real. Patrick watched Maya interact with his daughter and felt something shift in his chest. Most of the women he had tried to date, since Emma's mother left, had been uncomfortable around kids, or worse, had tried too hard. Maya was natural, genuine. She listened to Emma like what she was saying actually mattered. "So what do you do, Patrick?" Maya asked after Emma had finished her pie and was coloring on the paper placemat with crayons the waitress had brought over. "I work at a warehouse," he said. "Distribution center for a big retail chain. It is not glamorous, but it pays the bills." Mostly, he added silently, there were plenty of bills it did not quite cover, but he was not about to unload his financial troubles on a stranger. "That must be hard work," Maya said. "It keeps me in shape," Patrick joked, flexing his arms slightly. "What about you? What do you do when you are not running away from dinner parties?" Maya hesitated, and for a moment, Patrick thought he saw something like conflict in her eyes. "I work in business," she said finally. "It is complicated and honestly pretty boring." "I doubt anything about you is boring," Patrick said, then immediately felt his face heat up. Had he really just said that out loud? But Maya laughed, a genuine, delighted sound. "You would be surprised." They talked for another hour about everything and nothing. Maya asked about Emma's school, and Patrick found himself telling her about the struggle of helping with homework when he barely understood the new math they were teaching. Maya told them about growing up in the city, about her love of art museums and terrible cooking skills. "I once set water on fire," she said, and Emma's eyes went wide. "How?" the little girl asked. "I honestly do not know. I was trying to boil pasta and somehow I managed to cause a small kitchen fire. The firefighters were very nice about it." Patrick was laughing so hard he had to wipe his eyes. "That is impressive in the worst way possible." "It is a talent," Maya agreed, grinning. Eventually, Maya borrowed the diner's phone and made a call. Patrick tried not to listen, but he could not help overhearing bits and pieces. She was arranging for a car to pick her up, and from the way she was talking, it sounded expensive. A private car service at this hour, in this weather. When she came back to the table, her expression was almost sad. "My ride will be here in 20 minutes, she said. "That is good," Patrick said, though he found himself disappointed. He had been enjoying her company more than he had enjoyed anyone's company in a long time. "Daddy, I am sleepy," Emma said, rubbing her eyes. "I know, sweetie, we will head home soon." He glanced out the window. The rain had finally started to let up. Maya reached across the table and touched his hand lightly. "Thank you again, Patrick, for everything. You and Emma made what could have been a terrible night into something actually nice." "You are welcome," he said, very aware of where her hand was resting on his. "I am glad we could help." When a sleek black car pulled up outside 20 minutes later, Maya stood reluctantly. She shrugged off Patrick's jacket and handed it back to him. "Keep it," he said. "You still look cold." "I cannot take your jacket," she protested. "Then I guess you will have to return it to me sometime," he said, surprising himself with his boldness. Maya smiled, a slow, beautiful smile. "I guess I will." She pulled a soggy business card from somewhere in her dress and looked at it sadly. "This is ruined. Do you have a pen?" Patrick found one in his pocket, and Maya grabbed a clean napkin. She wrote down a number in neat, elegant handwriting. "Call me," she said. "Please?" "I will," Patrick promised. Maya bent down and hugged Emma. "It was so nice to meet you." "You take care of your dad, okay?" "Okay," Emma said, hugging her back. Then Maya was gone, climbing into the back of the expensive car that looked completely out of place in the diner parking lot. Patrick and Emma watched it drive away. "I like her," Emma said. "Me too," Patrick admitted. That night, after he had gotten Emma home, bathed and tucked into bed, Patrick sat on his worn couch and stared at the napkin with Maya's number on it. He thought about calling her right then, but decided it was too late. Tomorrow, he told himself. He would call her tomorrow. But when tomorrow came, doubt crept in. What could someone like Maya possibly want with someone like him? She had probably just been being polite. She probably gave her number out all the time and never expected people to actually call. 3 days passed before Patrick worked up the nerve. He waited until Emma was at school and he had a rare morning off. His hands were actually shaking as he dialed the number. She answered on the second ring. "Hello? Hi, Maya. This is Patrick Newman, from the storm." "Patrick." Her voice was bright, genuinely happy. "I was starting to think you were not going to call." "Sorry, I have been busy with work and Emma, and you do not have to explain. I am just glad you called. How are you? How is Emma?" They talked for an hour, then 2. Patrick lost track of time completely, sitting on his couch and talking to this woman who seemed genuinely interested in every mundane detail of his life. When he finally looked at the clock, he realized he needed to leave to pick Emma up from school. "I have to go," he said reluctantly. "But can I call you again? I was hoping you would ask, or better yet, can I see you, both of you?" Patrick's heart jumped. "You want to see us?" "Very much." They made plans for Saturday. Maya suggested a museum, and Patrick tried not to panic about the cost, but Maya quickly added that she had passes and it would not cost anything. They agreed to meet at the Science Museum at noon. Patrick spent the rest of the week in a strange fog, half convinced he had imagined the whole thing. But when Saturday came and he and Emma walked up to the museum, Maya was there waiting for them. She looked different in the daylight, dressed in jeans and a simple sweater, her dark hair pulled back in a ponytail. She looked younger, more approachable, but no less beautiful. "Hey," she said, smiling. "Hey," Patrick replied, suddenly feeling like a teenager with his first crush. "Emma." Maya knelt down and opened her arms, and Emma ran into them for a hug. "I missed you." "I missed you too," Emma said. "Are we really going to see dinosaurs?" "We are going to see so many dinosaurs," Maya promised. The day was perfect. They walked through the museum, and Maya proved to be an enthusiastic guide, reading every placard and making up funny voices for the dinosaur displays that had Emma giggling constantly. Patrick found himself relaxing, enjoying not just Maya's company but the way she was with Emma. She never talked down to her, never seemed impatient or bored. At one point, while Emma was pressed against a glass case looking at a massive T-Rex skeleton, Maya stood next to Patrick. "She is wonderful," Maya said quietly. "You have done an amazing job with her." "Thank you," Patrick said. "It has not always been easy, but she makes it worth it." "Can I ask what happened with her mother?" Maya bit her lip. "Sorry, that is too personal." "No, it is okay." Patrick sighed. "Her name was Rachel. We were young when we got together, and when Emma came along, I thought we would make it work. But Rachel decided she was not ready for motherhood. She left when Emma was 3. I have not heard from her since. That must have been incredibly hard." It was. "It still is sometimes, but Emma and we are a team. We make it work." Maya looked at him with something like admiration. You are a good man, Patrick Newman. He felt his face heat up again. I am just doing what any parent would do. You would be surprised, Maya said, echoing her words from the diner. There was something in her tone that made Patrick curious, but before he could ask, Emma came running back, demanding they go see the space exhibit. They grabbed lunch in the museum cafe, and Patrick insisted on paying even though Maya tried to take the bill. It was just sandwiches and drinks, nothing fancy, but it mattered to him that he could provide, even in a small way. So what do you do for fun? Maya asked as they sat at a small table, Emma already finished with her food and coloring again on a napkin. Honestly, I do not have a lot of free time, Patrick admitted. Between work and Emma, there is not much left over. We go to the park sometimes. I play softball in a recreational league on Sunday mornings when my mom can watch Emma. Pretty boring stuff. It does not sound boring at all, Maya said. It sounds nice, grounded. What about you? What does Maya Edwards do for fun? That conflicted look crossed her face again. I work a lot too. Too much, probably. But when I have time, I like art galleries, good restaurants, traveling. She paused. Though honestly, the past few years, fun has been pretty scarce. Why is that? Expectations, Maya said simply. Responsibilities. Sometimes I feel like I am living the life everyone else wants me to live instead of the one I want. Patrick understood that more than she knew. Is that why you were running away from that dinner party? Partly. Maya smiled sadly. It was a charity event. The kind where everyone wears expensive clothes and writes big checks and pats themselves on the back for being good people. Do not get me wrong, the cause was important, but the whole thing felt so hollow. That sounds exhausting, Patrick said. It really is. Maya reached across the table and took his hand, right there in front of Emma and everyone else. This, though, this is real, this is what I want. Patrick squeezed her hand, his heart pounding. Me too. They started seeing each other regularly after that. At least once a week, sometimes more, depending on Patrick's work schedule. Maya never seemed to mind that he could not take her to fancy restaurants or expensive shows. They went to the park with Emma, had picnics, visited free museums and festivals. Maya integrated into their lives so naturally it was almost scary. A month in, Patrick's mother invited them all over for Sunday dinner. She was a sharp woman in her 60s, and Patrick knew she was going to have questions about Maya. So you are the mysterious woman my son will not stop talking about, his mother, Deanna, said the moment they walked in the door. Mom, Patrick groaned, but Maya just laughed. I hope he has said good things, Maya said, shaking Deanna's hand. He has said very little, which means they are good things. When he complains, I hear all about it. Dinner was a typical Newman family affair, loud and chaotic and full of love. Patrick's older brother Michael was there with his wife and their 2 kids, and Emma was thrilled to have cousins to play with. Deanna had made pot roast and all the fixings, and everyone squeezed around the dining room table that was really too small for all of them. Patrick watched nervously as his family interrogated Maya, but she handled it with grace and humor. She answered questions about her work vaguely, saying she was in corporate management, which seemed to satisfy everyone. She helped clear dishes, complimented Deanna's cooking, and even got into a spirited debate with Michael about football. Later, while the kids were playing in the backyard and the women were in the kitchen, Michael pulled Patrick aside. She is great, he said. Way out of your league, but great. Thanks, Patrick said dryly. I am serious, Pat. Do not screw this up. She is good for you. She is good for Emma. I know, Patrick said. That is what scares me. What do you mean? Patrick lowered his voice. Come on, Mike, look at me. I am a warehouse worker living in a 2-bedroom apartment. I drive a car that is held together with duct tape and prayers. And she, he gestured toward the kitchen where Maya was laughing at something Deanna said. She is clearly from a different world. Expensive clothes, private cars, fancy events. Eventually, she is going to realize she can do better. Or, Michael said, gripping Patrick's shoulder, she is going to realize you are exactly what she needs. Stop putting yourself down, man. You are a great guy and an amazing father. If she cannot see that, then she is not worth your time. But I think she does see it. I think that is exactly why she is here. Patrick wanted to believe him. God, he wanted to believe him. That night, after they had said goodbye to his family and Emma had fallen asleep in the car on the way home, Meyer asked if she could come up for a bit. They had not really been alone together, not properly. Emma was always there, which was fine, but it also meant their relationship had been very innocent. Chaste kisses goodbye, hand-holding, nothing more. Patrick carried Emma up to the apartment and tucked her into bed while Maya waited in the living room. When he came back out, she was looking at the photos on his bookshelf. Pictures of Emma at various ages, a few of Patrick with his family, one of him playing softball. I love this, Maya said, holding up the softball one. You look so happy. It was a good day, Patrick said. We actually won that game. Maya set the photo down and turned to face him. Patrick, I need to tell you something. His stomach dropped. Here it was. The moment she told him this had been fun, but she was done slumming it with a poor single dad. Okay, he said carefully. I have not been completely honest with you, Maya said. About who I am. Patrick waited, his heart pounding. My full name is Meyer Edwards. I am the CEO of Edwards International. Patrick stared at her. Edwards International, the massive conglomerate that owned everything from tech companies to retail chains to real estate holdings. The company whose products filled the warehouse where Patrick worked. Edwards International, which was worth billions. You are a billionaire, he said slowly. Yes, Maya said quietly. I am. Patrick sat down on the couch, his legs suddenly unsteady. Why did not you tell me? Because of this, Maya said, gesturing at his shocked face. Because the moment people know who I am, everything changes. They start seeing dollar signs instead of me. They start acting different, treating me different. And you, her voice cracked slightly, you treated me like a person. Like I mattered, not because of my bank account, but because I was a woman stuck in the rain. You have been so genuine, so real. I did not want to lose that. Patrick's mind was racing. Meyer Edwards. The Meyer Edwards. He had seen her picture in business magazines at the doctor's office. Articles about the youngest female CEO in the Fortune 500, about her innovative business strategies, her philanthropy. Those dinner parties you run away from, he said. Those are your events. Yes, and the business you find boring is running a multi-billion-dollar company. Yes. And you have been slumming it with me and Emma, eating diner pie and going to free museums. Maya crossed the room and knelt in front of him, taking his hands in hers. I have not been slumming it. Patrick, the last 2 months with you and Emma have been the happiest I have been in years. Maybe ever, you see me, the real me. Not the CEO, not the billionaire heiress, just Maya. Do you know how rare that is? I am trying to understand, Patrick said. I really am, but Maya, you have to see how this looks from my perspective. I can barely make rent. My daughter wears hand-me-down clothes. I drive a car that might not make it through the winter. And you are, what, worth $3 billion? Closer to 5, Maya said, then winced. Sorry, that is not helpful. Patrick, listen to me. Money does not matter, not in this. Money always matters, Patrick said, but his voice was gentle. He squeezed her hands. I am not saying you are not real or that what we have is not real, but this changes things. It does not have to. Yes, it does. You live in a penthouse in the city, right? You have people who drive you places, cook for you, probably clean for you. You go to charity galas and business meetings with world leaders. I pack boxes for a living and consider it a good week when I have enough left over to take Emma to the movies. We are from different worlds. So what? Maya's voice was fierce now. So what if we come from different worlds? That does not mean we cannot be together. Patrick, I am not asking you to change. I am not asking you to be something you are not. I am just asking you to let me be part of your life. But I cannot be part of yours, Patrick said. Not really, you know that. You would have to hide me from your business associates, your board of directors. Poor single dad dates billionaire CEO. The tabloids would have a field day. It would be a scandal. Let them talk, Maya said. I do not care. But I do. And more importantly, I care about Emma. I will not have her subjected to that kind of scrutiny. Photographers following us around, strangers judging how we live, whether I am with you for your money. I will not do that to her. Maya was quiet for a long moment. So what are you saying? Patrick closed his eyes. This was the hardest thing he had ever had to say. I am saying that maybe we need to think about this, about whether this can really work. Patrick, please, I am not saying no, he said quickly. I am not saying it is over. I am just saying I need time to process this, to figure out how we could make this work without turning Emma's life upside down. Maya stood up, and Patrick could see tears in her eyes. Okay, she said quietly. I understand, but Patrick, I love you, I am in love with you. I know it has only been 2 months, but I have never been more sure of anything in my life. You and Emma, you are what matters to me. The rest of it, the money, the company, it is just noise. You are real. Patrick stood and pulled her into his arms. She buried her face against his chest, and he could feel her tears soaking through his shirt. I love you too, he whispered. That is what makes this so hard. She left a few minutes later, and Patrick stood at the window watching her get into her town car. He felt like he had just made the biggest mistake of his life, but he did not know what else to do. The next few days were agony. Patrick went to work, picked Emma up from school, made dinner, helped with homework, did all the normal routines, but everything felt hollow. Emma kept asking when they could see Meyer again, and he did not have a good answer. A week after their conversation, Patrick got a call from an unknown number. Hello, Mr. Newman. This is Richard Chen. I am Meyer Edwards's personal attorney. Patrick's stomach sank. Oh God, was she getting a restraining order, making sure he would not go to the press? I am calling because Miss Edwards has asked me to make you an offer, the lawyer continued. She would like to establish a trust fund for your daughter, Emma. Nothing extravagant, just enough to ensure her education is covered, and no, Patrick said immediately. I am sorry. I said no. I do not want her money. Tell Maya thank you, but no, if she wants to talk to me, she can call me herself. He hung up before the lawyer could respond. 10 minutes later, his phone rang again. Maya, did you really just turn down a college fund for Emma? She asked, and he could hear something like wonder in her voice. I do not want your money, Maya, Patrick said. That is not why I am with you. I know that, she said softly. But Patrick, please, let me do this. Not for you, for Emma. She deserves every opportunity, and I have more money than I could ever possibly spend. It would mean nothing to me financially and everything to her future. No, Patrick said again. Because the moment I accept your money, everything changes. I become the poor guy who is with you for your cash. We become that statistic, that scandal. I will make sure Emma has what she needs. That is my job as her father. You are the most stubborn man I have ever met, Maya said, but she was laughing, almost crying. And I love you for it. Patrick, I miss you. I miss Emma. Please, can we just talk, in person? They agreed to meet for lunch the next day, just the two of them. Patrick called in a favor with his mom to watch Emma, using a precious personal day from work. They met at a quiet cafe on the edge of the city, somewhere neutral. Maya was already there when he arrived, sitting in a corner booth. She looked tired, like she had not been sleeping well. Patrick slid into the seat across from her. Hi, he said. Hi, she replied. For a moment, they just looked at each other. I am sorry, Maya said finally. I should have told you from the beginning who I was. It was not fair to let you find out that way. I understand why you did not, Patrick said. And honestly, I probably would have been too intimidated to even talk to you if I had known. So maybe it worked out the way it needed to. Does that mean you have forgiven me? There is nothing to forgive. You were protecting yourself. That makes sense. Patrick reached across the table and took her hand. Maya, I meant what I said. I love you, but I need you to understand my concerns. It is not just about me. Emma is my priority always, and I am terrified of what dating you could mean for her. I would never let anything hurt Emma, Maya said fiercely. Never, Patrick, I love her too. She is amazing and funny and so smart. The thought of anything harming her makes me sick. I know you feel that way now, Patrick said gently. But can you honestly tell me that your lifestyle would not impact her? The publicity, the security concerns, the expectations. Maya was quiet for a long moment, clearly thinking. You are right, she said finally. Being with me would come with complications, but I think we could manage them. We would be careful about publicity. I can have my security team be discreet, and as for expectations, she took a deep breath. What if I stepped back from the company? What? Not entirely, Maya said quickly, but I have been thinking about it anyway. I have been CEO for 6 years, and it has consumed my entire life. I have a talented executive team. I could move into a chairman role, let someone else handle the day-to-day operations. It would give me more time, more freedom, more time to spend with you and Emma. Maya, I cannot ask you to do that. You are not asking. I am offering. Patrick, that night in the rain when you stopped to help me, that was the first genuine human interaction I had had in months. Everyone in my life wants something from me. Money, connections, opportunities. But you and Emma, you just wanted to help a stranger. You welcomed me into your lives and you made me feel valued for who I am, not what I have. That is worth more than any company. Patrick felt his resistance crumbling. Are you sure? I have never been more sure of anything. Well, except that I love you. I love you too, Patrick said. So much it scares me. So what do we do? Meyer asked. We try, Patrick said simply. We take it slow, we protect Emma, and we try to make this work. Because the alternative is walking away from each other, and I do not think I can do that. Maya was smiling now, really smiling. Slow, I can do. Protection, absolutely. Making it work. I am very motivated. They spent the rest of lunch making plans. Maya would gradually transition her role at the company over the next several months. They would keep their relationship as private as possible, at least until they were sure it was serious and stable. No publicity, no announcements. They would just be Patrick and Maya, figuring out how to build a life together. When Patrick picked Emma up from his mother's that evening, she took one look at his face and grinned. You saw Maya, did you not? How did you know? You are smiling, Daddy. You have not smiled like that in days. Patrick scooped her up, even though she was getting too big for it. You are too smart for your own good, you know that? Grandma says I get it from you. Grandma is biased, but yes, I saw Maya, and we are going to see her again this weekend. How does that sound? Emma threw her arms around his neck. The best. The next several months were a careful balancing act. Maya did indeed step back from her CEO role, promoting her COO to take over day-to-day operations. The business press speculated about her reasons, but she gave bland statements about wanting to focus on strategic direction and philanthropy. It was not entirely untrue. With more free time, Maya became a regular presence in Patrick and Emma's life. She was there for soccer games and school plays. She helped Emma with her science fair project, building a volcano that actually worked. She learned to cook basic meals with Patrick teaching her, both of them laughing as she continued to prove that her kitchen skills were truly abysmal. She never flaunted her wealth. When they went out, it was to normal places, doing normal things. The one exception was when she surprised Emma with tickets to see her favorite animated movie at a special screening with a meet and greet with the voice actors. Emma had cried with happiness, and Patrick had pulled Meyer aside later. That was too much, he said, but he was smiling. I know, Meyer admitted, but I could not resist. Did you see her face? I did, and thank you. Really. As fall turned to winter, Patrick realized that Maya had become essential to his life. She was not just his girlfriend, she was his partner. They made decisions together, supported each other, challenged each other to be better. Emma adored her. She had started calling Maya Aunt Maya, which had made Maya tear up the first time she heard it. Is that okay? Emma had asked, worried. It is more than okay, Maya had assured her. It is perfect. Patrick's family had fully embraced her too. Deanna treated Maya like she was already part of the family, and Michael had apologized to Patrick for ever doubting the relationship would work, but there were still challenges. A tabloid photographer had caught them leaving a restaurant one night, and there had been a small article speculating about Maya Edwards's mysterious companion. Maya's PR team had quietly killed any follow-up stories, but it had been a reminder that they could not hide forever. "We need to talk about going public," Maya said one night. They were at Patrick's apartment, Emma asleep in her room, and they were curled up on the couch together. "I know," Patrick said. "I have been thinking about it too." "I do not want to hide you," Maya said. "I am proud to be with you. I want the world to know. Even if it is complicated, especially because it is complicated. Patrick, the media is going to say things. Some people are going to assume you are with me for my money. It is going to be uncomfortable." "I can handle uncomfortable," Patrick said. "What worries me is Emma. She is 7 now, old enough to hear what people might say, to see things online. So we prepare her. We talk to her, make sure she understands that some people do not know the truth, but that does not make their opinions matter. We protect her as much as we can, and we give her the tools to handle it when we cannot." Patrick nodded slowly. "Okay, but we do it on our terms. No big announcement, no press releases. We just stop hiding." "Agreed." They told Emma first, sitting her down one Saturday morning and explaining that some people might know who Maya was and that there might be photographers or articles. "Like in the princess movies?" Emma asked. "When the princess has to have bodyguards." Patrick and Maya exchanged a glance. "Kind of like that," Maya said, "but less exciting, mostly just annoying." "Will people be mean to Daddy?" Emma asked, her face scrunching up with worry. "Some people might say mean things," Patrick said honestly, "but that is because they do not know us. They do not know how much Maya and I care about each other, or how happy we are." "I think people are silly if they are mean," Emma declared. "You and Maya are perfect together." Patrick hugged her tight. "You are pretty perfect yourself, kiddo." The transition to being public was actually easier than Patrick had feared. Maya introduced him at a company event as her partner, and while there was certainly gossip and speculation, most of it stayed in the business press. A few tabloids picked up the story, but without conflict or scandal, they lost interest quickly. Patrick's coworkers at the warehouse were more impressed than anything else. "You are dating the Edwards?" one of them asked. "Man, that is wild." "She is just Maya to me," Patrick said, and he meant it. The money still felt surreal sometimes, but the woman he loved was very real. As winter melted into spring, Patrick realized he wanted to marry her. The thought terrified and thrilled him in equal measure. He had been married before, technically, though he and Rachel had only lasted 2 years and most of that had been terrible. But this was different. Maya was different. He started saving for a ring, putting aside small amounts from each paycheck. It would take months, maybe longer, but he wanted to do this himself. He knew Maya would not care about the size of the diamond or the expense, but it mattered to him. Maya, meanwhile, was planning her own surprises. She approached Patrick one evening with a proposal. "What would you think about moving?" she asked. Patrick looked up from the dishes he was washing. "Moving where?" "I have been thinking. Your apartment is small. Emma is getting older and she is going to need more space. And while I love my penthouse, it is not exactly kid-friendly." "Maya, we are not moving into your penthouse," Patrick said immediately. "Emma would break something priceless within 5 minutes." Maya laughed. "I know, that is not what I am suggesting. What if we found somewhere that was ours? Not my place, not your place, but our place. Somewhere with a yard for Emma, maybe a dog if you are open to it. A real home." Patrick set down the dish he was holding. "Are you asking me to move in with you?" "I am. I know it is a big step, and if it is too soon, I understand. But Patrick, I spend half my nights here anyway, sleeping on your couch because it is too late to drive back to the city. I want to wake up next to you every morning. I want to be there for Emma's breakfast and bedtime routines. I want us to be a family." "I want that too," Patrick said. "God, Maya, I want that so much, but I need to contribute. I cannot let you just buy us a house." "So we will figure it out together," Maya said. Maybe you contribute what you would be paying in rent here and I cover the difference, or we structure it differently. I do not care about the details, Patrick. I just want us to build a life together. They found a house in the suburbs, a compromise between the city and Patrick's current location. It had 4 bedrooms, a big backyard, and a kitchen that made Maya nervous and excited in equal measure. I could actually learn to cook in a kitchen like this, she said during their first viewing. Let us not get ahead of ourselves, Patrick teased. Emma loved it immediately, especially when Maya pointed out the 2nd bedroom on the main floor that could be hers, and the 3rd bedroom upstairs that could be a playroom. And the 4th bedroom? Emma asked. Guest room, Maya said, for when Grandma Deanna visits. Or Uncle Michael and his family. They moved in late spring. Patrick insisted on hiring normal movers, not the high-end service Maya would have used. He wanted this to feel like something he had earned, not something he had been given. The first night in the new house, they ordered pizza and ate it sitting on the floor of the living room because their furniture had not been delivered yet. Emma fell asleep between them, and Patrick looked over her head at Maya. This is real, he said quietly. This is actually our life now. Is it everything you hoped? Maya asked. It is everything I did not even know I could hope for. 2 months later, on a warm summer evening, Patrick asked Maya to marry him. He did it in their backyard, with Emma hiding behind a tree to watch because she was in on the plan. The ring was modest by billionaire standards, but it was beautiful and he had paid for every penny of it himself. Maya said yes before he even finished asking, tackling him to the ground in her enthusiasm. Emma came running out of her hiding spot, cheering. Does this mean Maya is going to be my mom? She asked. Maya looked at Patrick, then at Emma. Only if you want me to be. I do, Emma said seriously. I really, really do. The wedding was 6 months later, a small affair with just family and close friends. Patrick's mother cried through the entire ceremony. Michael gave a speech about how Patrick had always been the responsible one, the one who did the right thing even when it was hard, and how Maya was clearly the reward for all that goodness. Maya's parents, who Patrick had been terrified to meet, turned out to be warm and welcoming. Her father was semi-retired, having handed the company over to Maya years ago, and her mother was a retired professor who spent her time volunteering and painting. We are just glad she found someone who loves her for her, Maya's mother said, hugging Patrick. Not for the Edwards name or the money, just for Maya. That is the easy part, Patrick said. Maya makes it easy to love her. The honeymoon was a compromise. Maya wanted to take them to some exotic location, but Patrick was uncomfortable leaving Emma for too long. So they went to a beach town just a few hours away, brought Emma with them, and spent a week building sandcastles, swimming in the ocean, and being together. Is this really your honeymoon? The hotel concierge asked, looking confused when they checked in with a 7-year-old. Best honeymoon ever, Maya said firmly, taking Emma's hand on one side and Patrick's on the other. Life settled into a new normal. Patrick transferred to a management position at a different warehouse, one that paid better and had better hours. Maya continued her work as chairman of Edwards International, but she kept her promise about work-life balance. She was there for family dinners, for Emma's school events, for the ordinary everyday moments that made up a life. They got a dog, a rambunctious golden retriever puppy that Emma named Sunny. Maya proved to be hilariously incompetent at training it, but she tried, and Patrick loved her for the effort. 2 years after they married, Maya and Patrick sat Emma down for a serious conversation. How would you feel about having a little brother or sister? Maya asked. Emma's eyes went wide. Really, you are going to have a baby? We are going to try, Maya said. But we wanted to make sure you were okay with it first. Are you kidding? Emma was bouncing in her seat. I have been wanting a sibling forever. I am going to be the best big sister ever. It took several months, but eventually, Maya got pregnant. Patrick was terrified and thrilled, still in awe that this was his life. Emma was involved in everything, helping pick out nursery colors and suggesting names. What about Sunshine? she suggested. We could call her Sunny like the dog. What if it is a boy? Patrick asked. Then we name him something cool like Dragon or Laser. We are not naming our son Laser, Maya said, laughing. They found out they were having a boy. Patrick cried when he saw the ultrasound, overwhelmed with emotion. A son. He was going to have a son. We should name him after you, Maya said later that night. Patrick Jr., that is so boring. What about your middle name? James. That is slightly better, but still. They eventually settled on James Michael, after Patrick's middle name and his brother. Michael was honored and immediately started planning to spoil his nephew rotten. Emma was 9 when her baby brother was born. She took her role as big sister very seriously, helping with feedings and diaper changes and singing to him when he cried. You are going to be so loved, little brother, she told the baby. You have the best family ever. Patrick watched his wife hold their newborn son while his daughter doted on them both, and he thought about that night in the rain that had changed everything. If he had not stopped, if he had not offered Maya shelter, none of this would exist. This perfect, chaotic, beautiful life. What are you thinking about? Maya asked, noticing his expression. That I am the luckiest man in the world, Patrick said. Good answer, Maya said, smiling. But I think I might be the lucky one. Can you both be lucky? Emma asked. We can, Patrick said, pulling his daughter into a hug. When you have love like this, everyone is lucky. As the years went on, their life continued to be full and rich. Emma grew into a confident, compassionate teenager, excelling in school and showing an interest in business that made Maya swell with pride. James was a happy, energetic little boy who worshipped his big sister and followed his father around like a shadow. Patrick eventually started his own small logistics consulting business, using his years of warehouse experience to help smaller companies optimize their operations. Maya provided initial funding as a business loan, which Patrick insisted on paying back with interest, and which she insisted on putting into a college fund for the kids. They still had their Sunday dinners with Patrick's family, now expanded to include Maya's parents and a growing number of cousins. They still went to the park, still had movie nights on the couch, still cherished the ordinary moments that made up their extraordinary life. On their 5th wedding anniversary, Patrick and Maya snuck away for a rare date night, leaving the kids with Deanna. They went back to the diner where they had spent that first evening together, sitting in the same booth. Do you ever think about how different things could have been? Maya asked, holding Patrick's hand across the table. If you had driven past me that night, if you had not stopped, all the time, Patrick admitted. And then I thank God that I did stop, that I got to meet you, to love you, to build this life with you. I was so lost before I met you, Maya said. I thought I had everything figured out, but I was just going through the motions. You and Emma, you showed me what really mattered. You saved us too, Patrick said. You gave Emma a mother who loves her. You gave me a partner who makes me want to be better every day. You gave us a family. Maya blinked back tears. Look at us getting all sentimental in a diner. I think we are allowed, Patrick said. We have earned it. They ordered pie, the same kinds they had gotten that first night, and talked about their dreams for the future. More kids, maybe, though they were not sure. Travel now that James was getting older. Growing old together, watching Emma and James grow up and build their own lives. Whatever happens, Maya said, as long as I have you, I have everything I need. Same, Patrick said, always. When they got home that night, Emma was still up, reading a book on the couch with James asleep beside her. She looked up when they came in. Did you have a good anniversary? She asked. The best, Maya said, kissing the top of her head. Good, you guys are gross cute, but I am glad you are happy. Patrick laughed. We are glad you are glad. He carried James upstairs to bed while Maya sat with Emma for a few more minutes. When he came back down, he found them talking quietly, Emma's head on Maya's shoulder. Good night, Mom, Emma said, getting up. Night, Dad. After she had gone upstairs, Maya looked at Patrick with wonder in her eyes. She called me Mom, she whispered. She did, Patrick said, pulling her into his arms. Because that is what you are. You are her mom in every way that matters. They stood there in their living room, in the house they had made a home, and Patrick felt a profound sense of peace. This was what he had been working toward his whole life, even when he had not known it. Not wealth or status or anything material, but this: love, family, belonging. Years continued to pass in a blur of soccer games and school plays, business meetings and family vacations, ordinary days that added up to an extraordinary life. Emma went off to college, choosing to study business with a minor in social entrepreneurship. She wanted to use her knowledge to help people, she said, to make the world better. Maya and Patrick could not have been prouder. James grew into a thoughtful, curious boy who loved science and art in equal measure. He struggled sometimes with the expectations that came with being part of the Edwards family. But Patrick and Maya worked hard to make sure he knew he was loved for who he was, not what he might achieve. On Patrick's 40th birthday, Maya surprised him with a party at their house. Everyone was there: his family, her family, friends from work and the neighborhood, even some of his old softball teammates. Patrick was genuinely shocked, which made Emma laugh. "You really thought Mom was not going to do something big?" she teased. "I thought we agreed on a quiet dinner," Patrick said. "That is what we told you so you would be surprised," James said. It worked. As the party wound down and people started leaving, Patrick found himself on the back porch with Maya, watching the sun set over their yard. "Thank you for this," he said. "For all of it, the party, this life, everything." "You do not have to thank me," Maya said. "This is our life. We built it together." "I love you," Patrick said, "more now than I did the day I married you, and I did not think that was possible." "I love you too," Maya said. "My hero who stopped in the rain." Inside, they could hear Emma and James laughing about something and Sonny barking happily. This was home. This was family. This was everything. Patrick thought back to that younger version of himself, struggling and scared and convinced he would always be just getting by. If he could go back and tell that man that everything was going to be okay, that he would find love and build a family and have more happiness than he ever dreamed possible, he was not sure he would believe it. But it was all true. Every impossible, wonderful bit of it. "Hey," Maya said, interrupting his thoughts. "Where did you go?" "Just thinking about how far we have come," Patrick said. "How lucky I am." "We are," Maya corrected. "How lucky we are." And that, Patrick thought, was the perfect summary of their love story. Not his luck or her luck, but their luck. Together. Always together. As the stars came out and the night grew cool, they stayed on the porch, wrapped in each other's arms, already looking forward to whatever came next. Because whatever it was, they would face it together. This billionaire and this ordinary man who had found extraordinary love in the most unexpected of places. Their story had started with rain and shelter and an act of simple kindness. And it continued with laughter and love and a family built on understanding, respect, and the deep knowledge that they were exactly where they were meant to be, with exactly who they were meant to be with. In the end, that was all that mattered. Not money or status or anything else the world might value. Just love. Pure, real, unconditional love. And they had found it, protected it, nurtured it, and watched it grow into something more beautiful than either of them could have imagined. It was, truly, their happily ever after.